and outstanding supporters of human rights, democracy, and freedom, and a good friend of our community. We're always proud to have him join us, be with us. Please allow me to give the floor to the Honorable Jason Kenney, Minister of National Defense and Multiculturalism.
Các món, kính chào quý vị. Thank you so much, Senator, and I'm delighted to be joined on the stage by my colleagues, the Honorable Peter Kent, of course, Senator Junin Verga. You've already met Member of Parliament Mark Adler, Member of Parliament Chungsun Leung. Give them all a hand. A great Czech writer who himself was a refugee from communism, named Milan Kundera, wrote the following words, quotes, "The struggle of freedom against tyranny is the struggle of memory against forgetting. The struggle of freedom against tyranny is the struggle of memory against forgetting." And the great chronicler of the Holocaust of the Jewish people, Elie Wiesel, wrote that, "For us, forgetting was never an option. Remembering is a noble and necessary act. The call of memory, the call to memory, reaches us from the very dawn of history. No commandment figures so frequently in the Bible. It is incumbent upon us to remember the good that we have received and the evil that we have suffered." He said that an immoral society betrays humanity because it betrays memory, but a moral society is committed to memory. I believe in memory. We believe in memory. Canadians believe in memory. The Vietnamese community of Canada, with its great pride and dignity and deep abiding belief in human freedom and human dignity, believes in memory, and so today we gather to remember. To remember that 4 decades ago, a free people lost its freedom. A democratic people lost its democracy. Free people lost their human rights, their freedom of expression, their freedom of religion, their fundamental rights. Today, we remember those who died in the defense of freedom in Vietnam. Today, we remember the exodus of over 1 million Vietnamese fleeing oppression and seeking freedom. Today, we remember the boat people, their adversity. We remember those who died on the high seas. Today, we remember the generosity of this great land, Canada, in opening its doors of safety and hospitality to over 60,000 Vietnamese boat people. A week ago today, I joined with many of you in remembering the courageous decision of the Conservative government of Prime Minister Clark implemented by Immigration Minister Ron Atke to reverse the policy of the previous government, which had only admitted 5,000 Indo-Chinese boat people. But Mr. Clark and Mr. Atke decided in that fateful summer of 1979 that Canada had to do much, much more, and so they opened up what was the largest per capita resettlement program for the Vietnamese refugees anywhere in the world. Today we remember all of these things, thanks to the Journey to Freedom Act, which was, after 18 months of tireless work by Senator No, became the law of the land, and now Canadians will always mark April 30th as the day of the Vietnamese boat people and their journey to freedom, their journey to Canada. But memory is not enough. Memory must move us to act. Memory of all of these things calls us again and again to renew our plea to the government of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam to respect the basic universal human rights of their people: freedom of religion, freedom of expression, freedom of movement, freedom to choose their own government. Just as Prime Minister Harper did in his visit to Hanoi in September of 2006, and just as our government has done consistently ever since. Memory must lead to action. In 2006, when Prime Minister Harper's government came to office, we learned that for years the Vietnamese community had been asking the government of Canada to help to welcome some of the hundreds and thousands of stranded Vietnamese boat people who were left behind in Southeast Asia. They were left behind after the doors closed on the resettlement program in 1983. And many of them lived in poverty, with no legal status, with great precariousness, sometimes in danger, sometimes in prison, in Southeast Asian countries, with no future. And sadly, until 2006, the government of Canada decided to keep the doors closed to those stranded boat people. But I am proud to say that we listened to the community, and in 2007 reopened those doors of protection, freedom, and hospitality, and welcomed 280 of the stranded Vietnamese boat people from the Philippines. And now, what an amazing moment, what a providential week. Quel moment historique et remarquable. En 5 jours, on va commémorer le voyage vers la liberté incarné dans la loi de Senator No. In 5 days, we will mark the first Journey to Freedom Day on April 30th, on the 40th anniversary of that day, in a bill that was passed just 2 days ago. That bill was passed on Thursday to mark the 40 years. And then you know what happened the very next day? Last night, Friday. Last night, 11 new Vietnamese boat people who have been stranded in Thailand for 25 years touched down at the Toronto airport and are now Canadian permanent residents. Please welcome some of the 125 Vietnamese boat people from Thailand who we have just welcomed to our Canadian family. Thanks to your generosity, thanks to Canada's generosity. Please welcome Father Peter and all of those who have made this possible. And please thank our friend Hoi Trin from Voice, who made all of this possible. God bless you all. Welcome to freedom!